or the currency, but it's never the set. Discretion of people, you can have the feelings and all the fine and feel what you lie for the love of the people who find the pain. Submerge the breath from the one you lean in and for the folding over itself into wind. See, way to find the battering it through the rain. In the hands of the interlude, stay tuned for the filling in the gap, and then you can find a title, a rhyme, or a suggestion of what you need for to get done for this lump sum, for the picture of this not the helicopter flying by for the limit or your choice. Survival tactic for the one to adapt to the culture when you don't know. Repercussions standing by the only surrounding by the belonging of what you have, the life of the pushing up the step back for the just and thankfulness for the broken pieces and you can have peace too. And is it enough to feel different than if they had been lately for the smells and the same for the inhaling of what you exasperate for the drawback for the proposition was proposed and not the tell time for. Day to make, define, the year to faint, or the currency, but it's never the set. Discretion of people, you can have the feelings and all the fine appeal. What you lie for the love of the people who find the pain. Submerge the breath from the one you lean in and for the folding over itself into the wind. See, way to find the battering you through the rain. In the hands of the interlude, or to stay tuned for the filling in the gap, so that you can find a title, a rhyme, or a suggestion of what you'll need for to get done for this lump sum, for the picture of this or not. A helicopter flying by for the dilemma or your choice. Survival tactic for the one to adapt to the culture when you don't know. Repercussions standing by the only surrounding by the belonging of what you have, the life of the pushing up the step back for the just and thankfulness for the broken pieces and you can have peace too. And is it enough for the feel different if they had been lately for the smells and the same for the inhaling of what you exasperate for the drawback for the proposition was proposed and not the tell time for. Time again, God can't find what's hidden for the, of course, God can't keep that. Keep you near for the honest truth of the cause of twisted of your own thought to the remain you are. The color waves that only one that gets it. And the ribbon of the resilience for the stranding of the scar for the story that you must face it. It was to be that battle for the roar and for the soul, for the dragon to stand the passenger over your eyes, the moonless and night for the weight of the world, for the extinguishing flame for the things we don't say, for the silence of the hate. Holding the truth in the folding hands and pretending there are mistakes. They're sanctified for the hypocrites to find the time for the preachers to teach and teach and preach. Melanin for the humming of the key for the sun that keeps you chasing your fry and fro the front the curls curling over your comments are found to pick up the sunsets in the full of nights and you find attractive to stand here for the volume doesn't bother me for the fear of the growth for this of when to continue the race over your future for the generation for the impacting of your emotions strong scene. It's the maddest. The musically weeping upon your guitar strings and you're an alchemist. And I wanted the repairing of the where the broken is. For the broken heart for the watch yourself for the coast. For the drafting of a wait that somebody loves you for the empowering of yourself for the things unsaid for this to be the people around me for the cause nobody seems to understand me for the damning lines and over ourselves for the slight that you're resting over your golden field of vulnerability for the either that for the inherently known for the painfully taught. Did you write it down or did you feel it yourself for this? I felt it myself for the truth and this the day after for the taking you. Surrounding of the open eyes of the depression that seems to let it explain itself for the not the sadness but the human to be bad enough for the stone that rolls for her for this lonelier than hell for the you're rejoicing to something of a mind for what you might have called the star for the rain cloud or the reason for yourself to be the best. Explaining what you meant to be carrying over your beauty that's writing or that's still to be the promise and words to be good for the careful and the delivery. And a blessing for the only the sleepy eyes gaze upon the duration of me for the consider this and you can find it all beating in the heart. The beating of the toxic ways and you can find the rich. Bride. Seductive solitude for the twisting and abandonment care for the corruption for the missing for your grabbing in the closet. I find myself. Make us out of some of yourself in the stars and the sun in the sky. Learn to read naked for the tongue and quiet yourself now. What was me? Got a complex for the constant. Like a storm of the sand, it's the desert for the desert. A feeling inherently different for the abiding of the pure suffering for the darkness of the evil, the humanity for the venomous of the snake and the thousands of heads. Organic chemistry for your wood, but dreamt was said. And the regret kissed me slowly for giving me roses to love me unconditionally and not the dotted line for the hurling over the hoops and the dodging of the ditches for the nobody made divine. From the pavement, you faint the call to find the call, so let it be for this to dance beautifully for the devourer and the singing the lie. writing in anonymous for the slipping of the last night from the one too many for this to be the time for the thought it was a pause. Time to forget for who's to begin with the brighter laughter for the slipping of the quiet hands and I find what's insane. Breath caught scan of light for the whisper of your name for the feeling of the pulse beneath the yielding of the form. To echo the bay, surrender for the storm, melt the desire wherever you remain for this a grave for the shiver for the runs through every vein. Whisper plea, determine that I give the gift of surrender for the choose to live, for the choose to be yours in the shape. Your own pain, the quiet hunger for the curling and the bending and the being fear. Leading into the abyss and into the night for the devourer you're holding near. You want love to watch the sunset today for the colors of the field, the sky for the pink, tripping into the red for the blue pass me by. The hostage of hope, scared to be happy and nothing to be said. Taking the deed, the dead, beneath the hands of the storm that pulls into the needs of the voice that commands it welcome. May she love the beauty that never left her. Where she belongs and no one else can find her, but the purpose, her heart for the know where she is. And the cosmic loom for the bloom, glimmers of the stars, available for the twinkling across the transparent threading. The span between the threads and the melancholy clouds of the spending, shimmering in the trails of the traces of the whimsical. Fractured delight for the meteorites of the pink find what the meteorites and threads and instant find a flight from the supernova for your fireworks this in the night. Stories to share. Stars diligently to collect the stories woven into the tapestry for the far and wide they race still for the grim tides this pole. Seas of leaves to wink there, the glare to glisten for the event horizon for your 0 point next to be higher. The never reading your nightmares and your last shot for the kick that to the end for the you can find the settling of intertwining into the stars of the future is already in place. The God's favorite indeed to feel for there's nothing but the anchor. Something in the barely. Look away. The quiet, eclipse, scattered, hands reach no more still, you see. Through the breathing and into the subconscious in your every piece of sound. React, justify for the garment knows where to land. For this too many land bodies in another for the unable to find a peace. This the lessons in the missing you for the sitting the grief in your love. Words only for standing in a struck of wonder for the only truth that stays warm. Hear the morning rains, the rain, fire for what's going to come for the sound of the window for the soft and the certain for the self in your flame. Absolutely have the small talk for accuse innocence for not to rely upon the accusers to proceed to the fullest extent. Name is after so many times it made me feel spent for this would be the real. Shift for brains and no speaking unless you're spoken to for the wicked tree for the just turning around and standing in the morning of what you got the birds guard callers for the wriggling of the refusing to evaporate for the three. I had a few more poems about you, but tell the brains 11 and 6 for a good night for the beat blueprinting and the melody for your part of me. Watch the garbage fall apart for the miles apart for smooth bump you flat for unforgiving in the matters you can swallow for the change in the way for the dark for the swallow the pill for the seal section of the comfort for the comfort. And the river ball for the abundance of the decading for your lungs. This finest explanation for the holding the breath in no clear winter. Seem the warmest the sun for the darkest dusk this winter. But this find it brightly enough for the knees. For the need to be torn from the minds of the aching. Never ending dream for the somehow results in the violent backlash.
Heart is yours, holy, without hesitation for the reservation or the moments you walk into my life, and this knew it had to found and home in you, and bring me a kind of happiness I knew was possible. For this is the grateful love beyond the words for the weird moments shared. But when the monsters came and the rest of your heavy eyes to sound better, for the drifting beyond forever lies, this lies forever. Don't speak in the innocent spoken to for the words of trots with the lips of the freely spoken with it. This a hunted myth, this a measure for the word they're taken becoming wordsmith. And then watch the night turn into day for the restless insomniac, for paces, this chain smoking for the overthinking about years ago. Love for her led to the death, of the manipulation for the matter, for them till the breath. And the trigger beneath the pulse, this was listening for the hum beneath the ribs, and the thread of the light for the dose of bone and breath. And the sea spoke of the slow circles and carried the kiss shaped from salt, and if it was the love that returned for the form of water, for the walk the fields and mustard bloom. All for the wind, for the feathers, for God, for who keeps forgotten songs. A ring floated with not memory, but portal shimmerings like a wound healed in silence, and the time softened, but it spun like a child in shadows, and we danced there barefoot, breathless. And the girl appeared chalk, dusted hands, laughter for the color of dust. She lived aside and waiting. The mirror replied, I don't belong here. And the mirror replied, you do. The air shifted for the choice of hovered. Release is to restart the stillness, but I have love's secret, the vibration for the pull me to now, for the breathing. Glowing before it vanishes, and even in the stillness and even in the forgetting, it remained a pedal for the pulse of the prayer. So I do love you till infinity, from when you were away for the eye, clean up the tools and swim for hours to get that deuterium, looking for the field for the matter, the middle for the piece of this span of spaces, the trees, the leaves, to find the lace and small ants with the pitchforks running down my spine. And I'm hunted by God, and that's important. Not to be impertinent for far enough of the moment to spend together for the been also, and I promise you for the best of yet to come for this, to know how much you are, and advertise, sing to my heart. And I woke up from this dream, and attending to the fines of your being. Release, push people away. Push them to the relief and the limits and the run away for the high, the kind of love of the sky for the heart. This is boomerang for it goes too high for lost in translation. And I almost forgot myself, letting it for the took into everything for the key. And I was due, I'm told, and desire to be loved. It ate me whole trying to fit mismatched puzzle pieces in my story in my heart. And I would never be scared to deeply love and to refuse to watch you miss the most important part for part of you that's missing for the puzzle pieces defining you under the fridge. And everything will be okay. And I whisper to myself over and over in that silent prayer, like a mantra. A desperate plea to the heavens and whoever might be listening, my Lord. As I cry to myself to sleep, that this is a fine memento for who will have, and draw somewhere for the full again, don't talk about, for this is carried the silence like a badge. And some of us wear like a bruise, though. Some of us stitch into the words and call it healing, but this is some night to ache. This has come back without the knocking to pour the tea for the light and candle, but to say not tonight, for this is sent away for the cross there for the final friend that we never wanted to see. Maybe that's the point, not to erase and not to fix, but to sit without flinching. And maybe the survival looks like greeting. You're finally getting it through the storms of the building, and brick by brick for the right where it starts. And learning to invite and promises when you keep you grow something at this time. Was that works of fire or a gun? Bang. It's just you and me for who shot who, for who could have done it. The smile, the eyes, the voice, the laughter, for the painting of the pink tulip when this is now June. Or myself at a different way for the month or something gave. The rocks to begin to crumble when you're knocking near the edge. Weary enough that you could beat the crumbling of it when they're fine. What appears to just to hold on. Don't bring flowers for me, but June did. Just listen to how the earth stopped Sometimes music does that, living with just a radio when you're outdated. But this is whole world and opens up with the bells and the whistles and aren't there anymore for them. Month isn't over now. And the illness is achievable for this detective while they're trying to get it under control for the, even longer for the ball rolling on a number to get it over that you can find a poem. Forgot what love feels like and not to know the heart gets tired. Because when they care about someone you can pour yourself into, for this is not ideal or sustainable for the realization, for the important gets tired, for this to give constantly, for the fearing and rejection, for the start overthinking over your word, for the silence and the wondering, and for the be too much. This is saying this ear to all bang. Be the reason to go for the never trails to face. Find what's good feelings in the thrill of someone else dismay. Or would I make them a reward for to put them in the center of my emotional universe, and then nothing in the left feels beautiful enough anymore for unless it's touched by them. And then like joy for warmth and touching for the can you feel earth clearly when I offer something to life and form inside of me. My love, trust that, but I recognize the feeling again. I'm sensitive and contender, or contend, but never that I'm tender. But let me pause, take a breath, and let me answer this flowing for the joy. For is it too trying to survive for this to find what's alive and not for to become how? Because even my love is something beautiful that needs rest. And the stillness too. True love and eternal infinite for always like itself and equal and pure without violent demonstrations for the white hairs is always loose and young in the heart. With the wisdom, you can see him in my face. With the smell of rain for the not because of the mist. With the skies taking a deep breath and I kiss. The rain for the open window, the less the rain and for the lightning strikes and the thunder rumbles and never toss and turn for waiting for sleep, but that will never come, but this will be the love of my life. Without a doubt, the most special. Never imagine for the kin will feel something, such a connection with the sun until I met or I bet the equations of the mind is just an equation for this can't solve this yet. Letters that I can't put together for the numbers that don't add up in nonsense and more. Kept trying to solve the why to M or why. It's a question of the math that never seemed strong to suit. Solve whatever I'm thinking of the same thought as me for the what are we, for the who are we, but can we ever just be? You grow in a difference. Something they can't digest. You were the eulogy of my dreams, and something dark and sweet in the tent for the swallowing of my mind whole. Threatening never to return for the hollow doubt of the breath before. Your name should pass as hard for good the road above a sense of something more. And then it could never recognize the darkness of pure and sorrowful. I know your chaos was the motive for me. Or I am uncertain for the people that fall for the idea for the before they know the person for the can you make a smile out of an infinitely kind? God's good perfection doesn't exist concealed within the thick residue of the casualty you miss. Camouflage for the within it, but the hesitation and regret. You bet. You can make a bet for that's a Russian roulette for the joy, for the sweet music of the heart, for the thundering of the sound to play, for this a monitor for your heart, for this you can add a destination, for the noticing of the mistake to deliver your wisdom. Shatter the pieces for the place back for together within growth. Molding us together for the better, for the never you once were. Or the failures of the chapters of your lives and not the entire story. Blood, sweat, and tears, the seams of our glory, chaos will falling apart for the peace will never falling into place, and decisions and consequences for the motion with the clock and never keeping pace. In the finish line for the direct calculation or correction with a race in this perfection, or does it exist if the fate doesn't miss it, this nature was God's symphony for the hope. Fully the example will give you an epiphany. An epiphany for the wind makes tree dance, this roots holding place in jail to the where the seed was planted for the yet still finds peace, and where it was destined to be for the waves are crashing there to shore. The ocean acts for the idea of love for being the hurt, for this the leaving the return of more, for the leaving the gripping the branches of providing a photosynthesis for the again to the altar for the clockwork that tells them to fall. Fluttering to the ground become nutrients for the soil, for the continuing the unwritten gospel for the laws. So this is the cycle to which life moves, and this is where the will
Thank you.